Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for Interlagos with the Volkswagen GTI VGT Gr. Let's get this started. Bring yourself to the right and brake in between the 100 and the 50 meter mark. You're going to brake hard for a while and ease off of the brakes just as you're about to start turning in. You want to bring yourself to the left side of the track to set yourself up for the rest of the S's. Then do a lift off of throttle, taking advantage of the curbs. Then start to fully accelerate and try to stay on these curbs to help the car rotate around this turn. You're then going to bring yourself to the right side of the track. Look for the 100 meter board as that is your next braking point. Brake hard for a short moment, then ease off of the brakes as you turn in, taking advantage of the curbs. Let the car coast for a moment before you start to accelerate. Exit that turn on 4th gear to have a reduced chance of getting some wheel spin. Then brake before you reach the 50 meter mark. This is where you want to just brake hard for a short moment, then ease off of the brakes. Make sure you hit these apexes, start to accelerate, and look for this tire mark in front of the red understeer sign as that is your next braking point. Take advantage of the curves, get the car pointing where you want to go. Briefly accelerate, then use a touch of braking, go to 3rd gear and slowly accelerate. Then look for the black billboard sign that is on the left as you want to brake before you pass it. Brake hard for a short moment, then slowly ease off of the brakes. You just want the car to be pointing where you want to go before you start to fully accelerate. Then ease off of throttle for this left turn. Bring yourself to the right and brake before you reach the 50 meter mark. Take your time easing off of the brakes, then let the car coast for a bit for more rotation, and then when you're ready to start to accelerate, slowly do so and make sure that your car is pointing where you want to go before you fully accelerate so you don't get any surprise wheel spin and spin yourself out. So that is pretty much it for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. First of all, welcome to 2021. Hopefully this year is a good year for you all. So let's go ahead and take a look at the race. So we are doing 13 laps at Interlagos and we're doing this with Group 3 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have tire wear at ×6, so that is going to be a problem. What makes this race a bit interesting is that we're actually using the racing soft and medium tires. So those 2 tires are available and they are also required for this race. So make sure you use both the racing soft and medium tires during your race so you don't get the 1-minute penalty after the race ends. And because both tires are required, that means that you're forced to make at least 1 pit stop. And that 1 pit stop is pretty much going to be the way to go for this race. So the pit loss here is going to be around 8 to 8.5 seconds, so it's a bit on the longer side. So you're probably not going to want to do a 2-stop unless if you're kind of just messing around. I mean, you can still try to do the 2-stop as you'll be spending more time on the racing soft tires, but still you're losing quite a bit of time on the pit stop, so it's not going to be the fastest way to get around this race. And the racing soft tires will last you 6 to 8 laps depending on your car and your driving style. In this case with the Volkswagen GTI, I had the racing soft tires last 7 laps before the tires were pretty worn out and they were starting to get a little sketchy. And the racing medium tires, even though you don't want to be on them for too long in this race, the tire wear does kick in around 5 to 6 laps in, so you just want to be a little careful once you're starting to get into that range for the racing medium tires. And assuming you're starting near the front, you're probably going to see a lot of people run 6 soft, 7 medium, or 7 soft, 6 medium. And if you're starting in or towards the back, then you can start on the racing medium tires to get the slower tire compound out of the way. So this is where you can either do 7 medium, 6 soft, or 6 medium, 7 soft. And yeah, you want to be careful with the tire wear because over here I ended up having a bit of a sketchy situation. And let's go ahead and take a look at the pit stop entry. So it's not too far from the start finish line. All you have to do is just go a bit further to the left or right here and just go flat out into the pit stop sequence. So your car will arrive towards the pit box almost immediately, but what ends up taking a while is, well, one, the pit stop sequence is a little bit long, but the main part that makes this pit stop long is that you have to go through this little obstacle course. So this is where your pit loss is really going to end up hurting you, which is why the one stop is going to be the way to go for this race. And let's say you're starting in the back, and if you're still thinking about doing the two stop for whatever reason, then this is where you only do one lap on the racing medium tires, and then you do 2 6-lap stints on the racing soft tires. And if you're starting towards the front, then you can do 6 soft, 1 medium. And as for the cars that are good for this race, this one's actually a bit more open-ended. There's quite a number of cars that can do pretty well in this race. So for example, the Porsche can do well in this race, the Hyundai Genesis can do well in this race, the Aston Martin can do well, this car, the Volkswagen GTI, can do well if you know how to control it. Obviously I don't, so this car was a bit of a meme car to me, so I didn't have a good time with it. But anyways, if you know how to control this car, then you can definitely pull it off. And yeah, there's a number of cars that can do well in this race. If the car can go fast and if it has a decent turning ability, then it should be good to go here. Last but not least, we'll show the best places to overtake and the penalty serving zone. So this first straight that is coming up is going to be one good place to try to get an overtake done, and the penalty serving zone is also located right here, and this is the only penalty serving zone that is on this track. Then after this left turn, if the car in front of you gets a really bad exit, you could try to get an overtake done over here, but this one is a bit more situational. Then we go through this turn. This is pretty much a no overtaking zone, but be careful because this part right here is a pretty good spot for lots of dive bombs to happen, so just be aware of that. There's another spot where that could happen as well, and it's going to be right around here. So this spot right here, this is another potential spot where lots of dive bombs can happen. So if you suspect that the car behind you might try to do that, then just go on the defensive and hopefully they'll think twice. This spot, you could try to overtake them during the very final laps of the race, but I wouldn't suggest doing it because you have this long main straight where you can take advantage of the slipstream and try to overtake them before you either cross the finish line if it's the last lap, or before the first turn if there is another lap available. Just be careful when you try to overtake just before the braking zone, because it is pretty easy to end up overshooting the braking zone and end up on the green stuff. And that is pretty much it for this guide. Once again, this is a one stop where you want to use both the racing soft and medium tires because they're both required, so make sure you have both of them on at some point in the race. And if you really want to challenge yourself or you really don't like the racing medium tires, then you can do a two stop where you can do 2 6-lap stints on the racing soft tires, which will leave only 1 lap on the racing medium tires. Once again, not the fastest strategy, but that strategy is there for you to use if you want. The car to choose is pretty much going to be a car that can be fast and has decent turning ability. This one is a bit open-ended, so you can choose your favorite car. And that is pretty much it. So if you like this video, you can press the like button, subscribe for all that good stuff, and I have a Patreon which you can check out in the description down below, and I'm opening up the YouTube membership program very soon. So that is all from me. I'm going to sign off now. So this is Mr. CA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.